Amazing, dude. I love it. You're through building, short-term rental, long-term rentals, fix and flip. You're killing it, rocking and rolling. I love it.
No, thanks. Yeah, sometimes it feels like it, sometimes it doesn't. So reminders, especially if you can send reminders that are short, not these long paragraph messages, are a lot more effective than sending like the check-in message, which it's a long message. And so I get a lot of people asking what the code is. And I'm like, well, it's in the check-in message or the welcome message right above you. But for your reference, here it is again. So
yeah, we get that a lot, especially in VRBO. Airbnb, not so much. On VRBO, we get that a lot because you see it all over the place. Airbnb is dead. Why are you changing it to short-term rental? Hello and welcome to the Dream Start Own. I am your host, Edgar the Connector, and today we got Rayce Barnes. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. This should be fun.
So you said it's your first time being on a podcast. Thank you for allowing me to bring you into this world.
Of course. Yeah. No, I'm excited.
Cool. So you're a fellow Owners Club member. Where are you based out of?
I'm in Central Washington in Wenatchee.
Okay. Washington. How do you say that? Wenatchee?
Wenatchee. Yeah. It's an Indian name.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
We went out to Washington back in 2016 for Portland, did the Mahoutma Falls and the Gorge. Beautiful area. You guys are some beautiful landscapes out there.
Oh, yeah. No, that's one of the reasons why we stay here.
Okay.
The Pacific Northwest is a great place to be.
Yeah. Beautiful. We took a train from Portland to Seattle. And then Seattle, we went up north on a boat ride to Orca Islands and saw some killer whales eating some seals, I believe it was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a really fun area to explore.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We want to go again. Have you been there your whole life, or did you move there?
Yeah, no, I grew up here in Central Washington. I explored a little bit of the world and then ended up back here in Wenatchee.
Okay. Why did you go exploring the world?
I just wanted to see some stuff. Me and my wife ended up doing a mission trip after we got married. We did a YWAM DTS, and that ended us up in Asia for about 7 months. And so we got to see a lot of Southeast Asia. It's a really cool experience.
Cool. Amazing. A mission trip, is that like what Pace always talks about? Shout out to Pace Morby and doing his, I forgot what he calls it. He's got to go for like a year to try to convert people.
Yeah. Pretty close to it. It's we were only there for 7 months, but and it was a YWAM. It's a international group that does outreach and things like that. Just tries to help people and tell them about Jesus.
Okay, YWAM. Yeah. Nice. And you went with your wife, so that's a nice, excellent way to do it. Were you married already, or?
Oh yeah, we actually had gotten married about a year prior, so it was a marriage challenge for sure, going on living in villages and things like that.
Yeah, you really get to know somebody at a different level doing that.
That's 100% true. we spent a lot of our time being sick from the different types of cultural foods. So yeah.
Yeah, the water always gets you. And right. Then you guys are still together?
Yep. Yeah, we got 2 little kids now.
Congratulations to you, the missus, and the kiddos.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So let's move on to real estate. You're an Owners Club. Mainly, most of it's real estate, but there are different types of entrepreneurs. Is that your main focus, real estate investing?
Yeah. No, I've been doing different types of business since I pretty much went through college until I found something and landed here in real estate. And I've done a lot of different stuff in real estate so far, and I think we're going to do a lot more different things as well moving forward.
Real estate has so many ways to win, so many distractions if you're not focused.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and I think everything has its place. So starting out in one thing, getting your feet wet, moving forward, and you can do a lot of things, especially after you develop the systems to automate a lot of that stuff, so that you can branch out into different areas while maintaining some of the stuff you've done previously.
Systems and automation, important part to be able to scale and free up your time to focus on the things that you really enjoy doing.
100%.
Today, what is your main focus of real estate?
So I've got a couple main focuses. I think today I just wanted to talk about some short-term rental stuff because that's the thing that I've done for the longest, probably. It's what I'm most familiar with right now. I'm learning a lot of other stuff, like we're getting into co-living and a little bit more multifamily. But today I just want to chat about short-term rentals.
Okay. Is that all through the Airbnb platform or do you use different ones?
Yeah, there's a couple different platforms that I've used. Airbnb is like the largest one. So it really probably 95% of our bookings comes from Airbnb. VRBO is another one. I haven't had nearly as much success with some of the other platforms, but Airbnb is very consistent.
What is your portfolio right now with short-term rentals?
So I've got 4 short-term rentals and I'm adding one actually within the next week or so. I had some long-term tenants move out and it's just a lot easier to maintain short-term rentals from a maintenance standpoint when you have people in and out all the time. And so somebody moved out that was only there for 12 months and I had to go in and do like 2 weeks worth of maintenance on the place. And I just kind of got fed up with that area with doing long-term rentals. So I was just like, I'm going to turn it into another short-term rental. I've got all this stuff set up so I can easily flow into that. So it just made sense to move it over to the short-term rental portfolio.
That's one of the things that isn't told to you to when say, hey, become a landlord, keep your property, rent it out, and you're going to make money. You're thinking, okay, cool, cash flow every month. And then at the end of 12 months or 2 years, whenever that tenant moves out, all that cash flow is going to go back into the property to maintain,
Absolutely.
Fix things they did. I had a property. I was cash flowing $600 a month, my personal property once we moved out. And in 2 years, just little maintenance stuff. House is 30, 40 years old. And by the end of 2 years, I was breaking even. So I did my first sub 2 on that one by actually moving it, selling it on a wrap.
Oh, yeah. No, it's definitely a love-hate relationship with real estate sometimes. I'd say overall it's fantastic, but I think it's a lot of it's appreciation unless you have some other way to be like a real estate entrepreneur. So I'd say short-term rental is more of a business. Building is more of a business. I've built ground up, and that's what I am changing. The one right now from a long-term rental to a short-term rental is one I built a couple of years ago. So there's a little bit more equity, a little bit more meat on the bone there to be able to get a little bit of revenue from it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a little bit more work, but in the end, you're going to make quite a bit more than you would on a long-term rental.
Definitely.
But saying a hot take, because you see it all over the place, Airbnb is dead. Why are you changing it to short-term rental?
Yeah. I mean, it might be not working out as well for some people. And a lot of people are having to deal with city requirements. I've had to deal with city requirements too. A lot of places are just saying it's not allowed unless you're in a commercial zoning. In the county that I'm in right now, they don't have any regulations against short-term rentals. So you also have to be competitive. When I first started doing short-term rental in 2016, I put 2 of my bedrooms on the house that I was living in on Airbnb, and we rented those out for up to like $150 a night per bedroom while we were still living in the house and sharing the kitchen. And we lived in the basement, me and my wife did, and then we had the 2 bedrooms upstairs. But that was our introductory into short-term rental, and I would say it was a positive experience. We never had any big issues.
Wow, how's hacking the short-term rental way? I mean, that's what Airbnb was originally created for, was to rent by the room, not the whole house that is more commonly known now.
Oh yeah, definitely. We never did rent out a couch on short-term rental, but I have rented out a couch for myself while I was in college. For $100 a month, I was sleeping on somebody's couch in the front room. So I've done a lot of unique living situations as well.
Amazing. There's a lot of people that wonder, like, well, what type of person would do that? So, one, you were a college student for yourself when you're renting it for $100 a month, which is a huge savings.
Definitely.
And then for the people that you were in Washington, I assume you were doing your house hacking, renting by the room. What type of guest were you getting there? That's one of the most common question I get is like, what type of person would rent that?
Yeah. So we limited it to 2 people per room. And so it was couples, and we had everybody from their 20s up to 60 years old coming as a couple to stay. And usually they were in the area. This was in Spokane, Washington. Usually they were in the area for some sort of event or festival or a basketball game or a hockey game. That was probably 90% of our guests when we were just renting by the room.
So do you think those people didn't want to get a hotel, or there wasn't enough hotels in that area?
Well, mostly like the $150 a night, that was like during Hoop Fest when everything is completely sold out.
Okay.
It was probably more average. We were renting it out for like $60 a night. And so, it was a pretty significant cost savings from most of the hotels in the area. And we also offered the full kitchen and a neighborhood setting with a place to park. You pull your car off the street into the backyard area. And there's a lot of different reasons why somebody would rent a short-term rental, even if it is inside somebody's house, like just renting a room out. I think a lot of it back then, my mindset was just cost savings. And so that's how I promoted my place. They didn't have a whole lot of frills or exciting features the way that you're having to be competitive now in the market in order to attract an audience.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely. That is good reasons. I just like to talk about it because people will ask and people can find it here and see that. We currently have an Airbnb out in Houston. It's we have a pool and a lake, so I know that we'll stay busy just because it's a beautiful location. Are all your STRs in Washington?
Yeah. All my short-term rentals are in my surrounding area. So Wenatchee, East Wenatchee, Chelan area. That's more of a lake property, and that's the newest one that I've added to my portfolio.
Okay. And are you doing any themes on them, or is it just the basic house people rent because of need in that area?
Yeah. So the one up by the lake, I wouldn't say it's a lake theme, but it's nice. It's got a lake view. We've got cantilevered decks off the front, and it is a really great view in a really pretty area. That's probably the closest thing to an actual vacation home that we have. Most of my other short-term rentals are in town in East Wenatchee. And a lot of times we'll just attract people that are working like with Google or Amazon or working on the utility companies during the off season. And then during busy season, we'll attract families that are coming for sporting events or concerts. I think you said the Gorge earlier, like that's about, about an hour drive from where I'm at, maybe 40 minutes. And so we'll have people coming to concerts and staying in the Valley, a little bit less expensive to stay here and have all the amenities of a town where the Gorge is kind of out in the desert.
Yeah. And even just the area that you're in, it's a beautiful drive. So if you're going an hour, it's not like a concrete jungle. You're actually enjoying the beauty of nature that Washington has.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And sorry to answer your question. I wouldn't say I have particular things, but I've got like one unit has a game room and another unit has a hot tub. And then another unit is just 2 side-by-side units where the one that I'm adding right now, you'll be able to host up to 16 people in those 2 side-by-side townhomes. They're connected, but they're disconnected. You can't enter one from the other, but it's right on the same property. So each one has a little bit of its own features.
Okay, that's great. So I've been thinking about adding a hot tub to our Airbnb. We have a jetted tub. I don't really advertise it because it's in the master bedroom or the primary bedroom. Do you see a difference of people paying extra for the hot tub, or do you just include it in the price?
Yeah, no, I would definitely raise the price. It's probably about 10% more overall for the rental, just because the hot tub. And I would say there's definitely extra maintenance. And I purchased one of the most inexpensive hot tubs I could find that had the simplest maintenance and mechanics possible. I think it was like a Hot Springs was the brand. But I'm pretty happy with it. But you do have to keep up with chemicals and changing the filters and things like that, and get quick acting chlorine or shock or whatever to make sure that everything is keeping the right chemicals.
So I don't know anything about hot tubs, so I'm going to ask you more in depth into it. One thing on the Airbnb, you already included in the price. You don't have like an extra fee saying, hey, if you want to use it, it's this much, and then like unlock it. It's available to whoever rents it.
It is available to whoever rents it. And I think I have seen other people in different areas. Electricity is probably some of the cheapest power in the nation. I think we pay like 3 cents per kilowatt hour. So it's not really an extra cost for me. And I think if you were to do it like that, you'd have a lot of people complaining about it, just because they might see something in the pictures and then they get there and they didn't read your description, because 90% of the time they don't know what to expect because they didn't read the description. And then they just saw the picture, and then the rest is a bad review. So I have heard of people doing that, though, where like in Arizona, they have to pay to have the hot tub or the pool heated up beforehand, which makes a lot more sense because power is significantly more expensive in the Arizona market.
Those are some facts. We spell it out for them, and they don't read.
They do not read. They won't read a welcome message. They won't read a description.
Rules. You send the messages to say, hey, please don't let this happen in the next 4 hours or something like that. Like we have a pool and we have the cleaning robot, and they'll take it out and say, hey, make sure you put it back in, because you know how many times they've drained a good portion of the pool by leaving it out. So now we've added a fee to it.
Oh, yeah.
And we have to let them know before when they book. Be sure to read these. If you don't read these, you're going to get charged. And still, a lot of them don't read. They just like, oh, okay, it's included.
Yeah, it can be really frustrating, but that's one of the added things you've got to deal with for that little bit of extra income.
So how long have you had that hot tub now?
Let's see, right around a year. I hadn't really focused on being more competitive in my market until about a year and a half ago, and I hired like an interior designer, decorator, to start making the places look a lot nicer, because I just did them myself before, and I just go buy stuff from Goodwill or yard sales or wherever I could. I was just like, I'm getting these things furnished, and that was the market 5-6 years ago. You could do that, and now you've got to be thoughtful about things.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of options. Anymore. Yeah,
nice designers, and which is good, especially if you can provide a good experience depending where you're at too. So would you do the hot tub again in that property if you had the chance to do it over?
I probably would. Overall, it's provided. It probably rents out for about the same amount dollar figure every single month. But I have about half as many cleans. So it's renting out for more. And the stays are longer, and I have less stays, compared to the identical unit that's 20 feet away, that is booked out all the time. And I also have 20% or 30% more cleans on that unit. And the cleaning is one of the biggest hinge points. I started a cleaning company just because of short-term rental. Cleaning is one of the largest expenses. And so I just was like, I'm just going to start a cleaning company in the Valley. And so now we offer our services to residential homes, and to kind of subsidize our cleaning expenses on the short-term rental side.
Bravo, man. Bravo. Figuring out the need and then creating your own to solve it and reduce your costs.
Exactly.
So another thing with the hot tub, back in 2003, me and my wife went to Lake Tahoe and we rented out a cabin. This is before Airbnb, and they had a hot tub, and just there was snow outside. It wasn't snowing, but the snow hadn't melted, so it was cold. And I know we used the hot tub, and then the next day we went out there and tried to turn it on. It didn't turn on. We're like, oh. So I don't know if we left the cover off. I think it's 25 years ago. I don't remember exactly. But what would cause something like that to happen do you think, with the hot tub?
For the power to cut from it?
Oh, okay. Maybe that's
yeah.
what it was.
Well, I mean, so if you did leave the cover off, it could overwork the heater element, and then it could pop the breaker. That's the first thing I think of. But I have been thinking about that. I've talked to a lot of people that know more about me about hot tubs, and they said even in a cold winter, it would take several days for a hot tub to freeze up, which is what you'd be worried about. The pipes inside freezing if for some reason it went off. I do have a little Wi-Fi alarm though on my on the power source for the hot tub. So if the power to the hot tub ever gets shut off, it sends me a ping to my phone to let me know that there's a problem. And it's not that big of a deal during the summertime, but in the wintertime, that could cause a major problem.
Yeah, I was scared. I was hoping nothing bad happened to it, but we didn't know enough of it. Google's barely there, and just to be able to search things on wasn't what we have now. And yeah, man. So pro tip that you're giving out to people: if you have a hot tub and you can get a sensor on it to keep an eye on the power, is a great tip and advice to put on your listing.
Definitely. Yeah. And if you're just getting started out and you have a hot tub in a place already, hot tubs are pretty simple pieces of equipment. Like there's a motor, there's a heater, there's a bubbler. And a lot of that stuff can just be interchanged out. You just pull the motor out, put a new motor back in with a little bit of YouTube and Googling. You can figure out how to do pretty much anything. I got my general contractor license in 2016 in Washington State, and my wife calls me a YouTube contractor, but that's asking questions. Asking questions is how I learned how to do new builds. And so we've done ground up new builds and rented them out on short term. So it works.
That's fantastic, man. Brilliant with that. So what about, okay, how did you figure out your pricing to add for your hot tub? To add on a daily rate, I assume? Yeah, no. So I use, I guess let me go back a little bit. In about 2000, maybe 2022, I was about ready to quit doing short-term rentals altogether because I think I had 3 at the time, and it was a ton of management. Just using the systems that the short-term rental companies or platforms provide for you. It was a lot of back and forth, a lot of messaging, a lot of putting in codes or using the same code, and you don't have the security of having a new code for every single person. And so that's kind of something that's in the back of your mind. And I went to a mastermind for short-term rentals, and it completely changed the game for me. I went from doing everything manually and on my own to utilizing a couple systems. And it went from spending potentially a couple hours a day to spending 10 minutes a day. And I have twice the portfolio of short-term rentals right now. And I probably spend 15 minutes a day managing them at this point. And to answer your question with the pricing, I use something called Price Labs. I think it's Price Labs. Let me double check. Yeah, Price Labs. And you kind of set your rates in there, and then it pulls from everywhere. It pulls from Airbnb, from VRBO, from hotels nearby. And so the price fluctuates extensively inside of the system, and you hook it up straight to your VRBO and Airbnb and any other platforms that you have. And it's really surprised me because these townhome style Airbnb or short-term rentals that I have, the price will go all the way down to like $140 a night when it's slower. And then a couple nights, every once in a while, the price will just shoot up to $1,000 a night. And I'm like,
what happened here. The algorithm just knows something that I don't know, and the best one that I found is this platform. But about the hot tubs, we added. I want to say I started with 20% increase just to see how it went, and then I can adjust from there. And then when you adjust those price inside of those pricing algorithms, it moves for you. So once you have that baseline price, it'll go up and down with the market trends. And so it's probably as accurate as I've seen anything being able to be. It's a lot better than just Airbnb's price algorithms that they use, like the smart pricing options.
Cool. Do you think that Price Labs helps you? If you were just to have one property, would the investment in Price Labs help you recover that cost and increase income?
Yeah, I think so. With the short-term rental, you're looking at, like, even on the low end, you're probably grossing $3,000 to $4,000 a month. And Price Labs is like $20 a month subscription fee. I'm not. I don't actually have a link for that or anything. I should probably get a link if I'm talking about it.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get you set up with an affiliate link. And if we do, we'll put it below. And drop a comment of what questions you have about short-term rentals, if it's still something to do these days. Mine's still performing really good. I have one right outside of Houston. And then how many did you say you had again? 4?
I've got 4. I'm turning on the 5th one right now.
5th, yes.
Yeah.
Good, yeah. Fantastic. Awesome. And then, so great information in the hot tub. Appreciate that. I've been considering it on the fence. And then Price Labs being worth it for just one. I haven't tried it just because I haven't had time. I have somebody now managing the Airbnb. And then the other one, you said you added a game room to it. Did you do similar 20% increase, or do you lock out that area and only people that pay for it can access it? How does that work?
Yeah, no, I just leave it open to all my guests. I just increased the price again. So I did probably ultimately I ended up doing between a 10 and 20% increase on the hot tub, and then another 10 or 20% increase when I put the gamer in and added pictures. And like, we've got a little arcade that has 1,000 different games in it, and a 86-inch TV, and like the foosball and a basketball thing. We just built out the garage and added that stuff to it. It was probably as far as return on investment, like, I think the hot tub probably took about 6 months to a year to pay off with the increase in bookings for price. And then I'm thinking around the same for the game room.
Okay. And now the game room, did you do it for Airbnb or did you do it for yourself?
Right. I'm in there all the time shooting hoops. No. Yeah, I know. I did it for the short-term rental.
Okay.
Yeah. I've actually been thinking about every once in a while. So I built out a Sprinter van a couple of years ago.
Oh.
And so we'll go on these long-term trips for a couple months at a time. And when we do that, I have my house listed on short-term rental that we live in. And we've kind of set it up so that if we do need to leave, we just push everything into a closet, put a lock on it. And so anytime we'll get like a 2-month booking for our home, like we have only long-term stays for this one, we'll just jump in the Sprinter van and go on a family trip across country. And our mortgage plus some gets paid from renting out our house. So we've, in the last 2 years, we've kind of we haven't been planning our trips, but we've been scheduling them with Airbnb bookings on our primary residence. So that's kind of been a fun little thing that gets our trips paid for too.
I love that. That's good. They're going to give us money. Bye. Let's go somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But because of that, I've been considering putting like a little, we've got a detached garage in this house. I've been considering adding like a spa type feature, like having saunas and hot tubs and a cold plunge and red light therapy, and just being able to write it all off because it's for the short-term rental side of things. So we'll see.
Heck yeah, man. So your game room, you have arcades, you have hoops. Do you have game consoles and like individual controllers? I've thought about putting that in there, but I'm worried the controllers can get damaged.
Yeah. I've tried putting some console type stuff in, and I wouldn't say I've had a whole lot of success with it, especially when you're talking about like an Xbox or like an expensive console. I think it'd do okay, but you're gonna have the wear and tear. It's gonna get damaged at some point. Like I had a VR headset that I got for free from like a cell phone purchase with one of the carriers, and so I stuck that in a short term rental, and I talked about it a little bit, and within like two guests, that thing was not turning on anymore. So I probably won't do that again. But there are some companies that have. Like I got this arcade console. It's like a 6 foot tall gaming system, like you would see like a quarter machine in like a pizza place. There are these companies that build these, and they'll build them specifically for short-term rentals. So they're a little bit more foolproof. They've got protective glass across the front of them to protect the screens, and a lot of the components are just easily replaced. Like the TV screen that is built into this thing, it's just like is it a TLC or like a Vizio just stuck in there behind the box. And so if you need to, you can just unplug it. And it's only like a 30-inch screen. So you can get a 30-inch screen now for, I don't know, like $100 from Walmart. So you could just plug in a new one. So I would recommend something like that before I would have like a controller operated system.
Dude, that's great. I didn't know that there were the companies doing like short-term rental specific arcade machines. I need to look into that. Have you thought about doing like a golf simulator? Somebody mentioned that to me. I was like,
Oh man. So the lake place is more like that luxurious place where you can get higher rents. But it's also seasonal, mostly, but there's still every once in a while, there's some festivals that happen during the wintertime. So we are going to install a hot tub up at that unit. And I have been thinking about building a little shed out in the back and installing a golf simulator. I think we could do it. I plumbed everything for it when we built the two townhomes. So I can get water, so we could have like a wet bar out there and electricity. But I have been considering that. I think we could do a stick built version for around $60,000 to add a full on golf simulator, which I think would do really well. It's really about the amenities when you're doing short term rental. The amenities and how many people you can host.
Yeah, 100%. Having amenities is going to be able to make you stand out, and then being able to show that in your listing will help you stand out and put you at the top of people's list to go ahead and do that. What about for the game room? Have you thought about doing like sound systems for any of your houses for movie watching experiences?
I didn't do any sound systems for the existing units. For the nicer, more vacation unit that I have up the lake, I built in a sound system into the kitchen area, so you can have ambiance all the time. And like I'm big into sound and lights. And so probably one of the most irritating things for me is when I walk into a place and there's like one lamp in the corner and there's no lights in the ceiling. And so all your light is coming from one source. And it doesn't really even out everything. And the same thing with speakers. I think every place that I build after this is going to have systems in the ceiling or in the walls, just because even with sound, like if you have a speaker in a corner, the person sitting near that speaker can't hear anything else in the room. You put 5 speakers in the ceiling spread out, and all of a sudden everybody has the exact same experience and nobody's having to yell over sound. So those aren't hooked up to like an AV system or a TV system. It's just, I use simple systems. I use the Sonos amps, and so you can control them. I built iPads into the wall. So it's really just for ambiance. Like you could put a podcast on or listen to some music. And if you wanted to, you could probably have one like a Sonos Beam speaker bar for your TV. And then that could also connect to the amps if you wanted to do something like that. But really it was just for ambiance.
Yeah, I love that. I've thought about like putting Sonos on the TV because it's easy to be able to Bluetooth to them or AirDrop, depending which version you get. What about Alexas and smart devices in your house? Do you ever put any of those in?
I haven't had any smart devices in a short-term rental. No. I don't know. I mean, if you had a lot of other smart devices in your short-term rental, like the stove or the microwave, or if it was connected to your lights or things like that, it might be something to consider. I think in general, the simpler you can make things for people, the better. You really are shooting for like the lowest denomination of guest, like making sure they can operate everything and not break something. Because if there's something that you think could get broken, it's going to get broken.
Yeah, definitely. Things will break that you don't expect.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, like, how did you do that?
Oh, yeah.
No, I've been on the fence about doing like an Alexa, but I think one of the issues that I read online was because Alexa's or voice command that, and you can do communication 2 ways with it, that people will see it as eavesdropping. So I haven't put one on there. They say Google doesn't have that issue with the communication back and forth, but they don't have the routines that Alexa has. Like Alexa, I can, like my podcast, when I say I'm going to do this, I say echo and content, and it turns on my lighting for me correctly.
Right.
With Google, I'd have to say turn on this, and that, set it all. That I know of. I haven't used Google recently. Maybe they've added that feature. But I've thought about it, like setting up just a nice ambiance for lighting, to have it like dimmed in when they come in, when they arrive. If they arrive later, when it's dark, to automatically have the lights on, and then being able to turn off the lights when they're scheduled to leave, just to help reduce energy costs.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you're just considering lights, I think there are some systems that I've had for just the outlets, and the outlets will connect to Wi-Fi, and then you can control this from an app or set them up on timers, and it'll modify the dimming, which I have installed into houses. And you set them up on, like, at dusk, you want it to go to here at 9 p.m. We want all the house to go to like sleep mode or things along those lines. And then you can always override it from the light switch. But and then it doesn't add that step of like having a Google or Alexa that you have to give a command to as a guest. But it's also built in, so somebody can't take it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you do outlets and that, but Wi-Fi or app controlled. Have you been able to automate that with your Airbnb, or is there a software that you're using at all to automate it, or is that still kind of manual?
The lights?
Well, yeah. So like if you don't set it to schedule every day when somebody's there, because their schedule is going to be a little bit different. But when they leave, you probably set stuff turns off, right?
Yeah, and so I haven't really installed a whole lot of those Wi-Fi lights for my short-term rentals. The only thing that I really have set up on automated is, as far as lights go, is the porch lights, and so that's built into the wall as well. So it turns on at night and it shuts off during the daytime. Just so nobody shows up to a completely dark home with a late check-in at like 11 o'clock at night or something along those lines.
Yeah, 100%. I do that too. That's, I think, the only smart light I have at the house is the patio, to when somebody arrives, to be able to access the code. Are you using the Schlage door locks as well? Because those integrate very well with Airbnb. Yeah,
the encode. And so my messaging, I use a third-party messaging system as well. And it talks to the encode, and it automatically sends messages and things like that to the guests. So I no longer have to message guests much at all, unless there's a unique question that I didn't cover in either the welcome message or my follow-up message or things like that. But it automatically sets the code to the last 6 digits of the person's phone number, and then it'll let them know what it is. And it gives them the access an hour before check-in and an hour after checkout.
Nice. I like that. I think Airbnb has theirs built in, so I've used theirs for our smart door. And then I did schedule the pre-setup messages that release on the schedule, like the Wi-Fi password, like a couple of minutes after check-in, and then to make sure the reminder at night to put the pool vacuum in and random stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Using all those automated systems and reminders, especially if you can send reminders that are short, not these long paragraph messages, are a lot more effective than sending like the check-in message, which it's a long message. And so I get a lot of people asking what the code is. And I'm like, well, it's in the check-in message or the welcome message right above you. But for your reference, here it is again. So
yeah, we get that a lot, especially in VRBO. Airbnb, not so much. On VRBO, we get that a lot.
Yeah. I don't think VRBO is as fluid. Like they've done a really good job with Airbnb, making it user friendly and flows from like booking all the way through exit really well. Where VRBO feels more exclusively like just a booking platform.
Yep, I agree on that. So many points with Airbnb. They're the go-to,
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a reason why it's 90% of your bookings. So
I had a conversation recently about another STR. They do more themes. What is your take on availability of renting? I used to stop it at 3 months because I heard from somebody else. How far out do you extend your bookings?
As far as like how long I'll accept a client or how late they can check out or how far in the future they can check in.
How far in the future they can schedule or book your place.
Yeah, I have a 12-month
okay.
open window. And with the algorithm, I think the further out they book, the more expensive it is to lock in. Like, and a lot of people they're booking further out, like for next summer, they'll have like a 10-day trip that they're planning or something along those. It's usually not a 2-night booking that people are booking 6 months in advance.
Okay. Thanks for that. I'm gonna adjust some settings there.
Yeah.
So what about early check-in? People ask if they can check in. We get that often. Do you charge a set rate per hour, one set rate at all, or you don't allow it?
So this is something that I've fallen short on a little bit. I should probably charge something, but we don't really have a system to guarantee that somebody's going to be able to check in early. So most of the time when people ask for an early check-in, I just say, hey, let me know when you're in town. And my cleaner will reach out and let you know when the unit's available for you for check-in, if it's early or not. And having 5 and having a set number of cleaners, sometimes we're able to let people check in early and sometimes we're not. So I haven't done anything that allows a guaranteed check-in. I have one of the masterminds I sat in, we're talking about having your own platform, your own website where people can book. And so you get the booking fee from that Airbnb would normally charge. You still charge the same price, but you make 20% more because you're taking the Airbnb's booking fee. You still have to pay your taxes. You now have to pay your taxes manually when you do that, which adds one more step. But one way to pull people over to that platform is when they ask you, when you send out your message after they book, you can say, hey, if you booked with VRBO or Airbnb, check-in is at 5 p.m. If you booked from the direct booking website, your check-in is at 2 p.m. And if you'd like to make any adjustments to your booking, please give me a call at this number. And that doesn't violate any of Airbnb or VRBO's requirements because you're offering a different service. And so if they do call and they want to switch over to your direct booking site, they can do that. They just cancel the Airbnb or VRBO or whatever other platform and then book directly with your site.
I like that. That's I haven't done that yet with the site. I have one set up, but I haven't taken the time to set it up to do self-hosting, self-booking. And that's a good point about that extra step to pay taxes. I hadn't thought about that either.
Yeah, that's really the only. Everything takes time. Like so, I've had short-term rental for quite some time, and I haven't set up my direct booking site, which I should. But there's just so many things that we're doing inside of real estate. So I haven't getting an extra 10% on the current stuff that I've got right now. Should be a motivator for me, but I haven't taken the time to sit down and add those steps to the platform. But you do have to do. I think it's only quarterly though, so usually like the Department of Revenue is where you pay the taxes to. So quarterly, you'd have to go in there and say the taxes that you paid, which means you now have to tell them about all the Airbnb stuff, because if you're just a holding company with real estate, you don't have to have all the local permits in a lot of places.
Okay, thank you for that information. Going back to the check-ins, we do the same thing. We don't have a guaranteed check-in. People ask, we'll tell them, as of now, we don't have a booking that day before, so you can go in earlier. But if we can let you in, we'll let you know at time of. We're not going to guarantee it till that morning of. And then we do charge, right now, only charging $15 an hour for each moment. And we asked them to pay ahead of time, because before we would tell them and we'd send the bill and they would never find it and it would never get paid.
Yeah.
So now we've changed it to where we auto charge them first before we give them the update, the code for them to get in. So if you're a host and you're looking to host and you want to early check in, make sure they pay it first. Like most entrepreneurs, I don't sleep enough. So the hours that I do sleep need to be of better quality. The 8 Sleep Pod, it has been a game changer for me. Perfect temperature all night, less snoring, and I actually wake up refreshed. And my wife does as well, which is a huge plus. Happy wife, happy life. You can try it through my affiliate link below. Now we go back to the episode. What about late checkouts?
Late checkouts is just dependent on the cleaning schedule. I should probably just say I don't do late checkouts because it does cause a little bit more management for me to rearrange things. Or I could also get a VA that just handles all the any random messaging. I don't feel like I'm at that point yet to have a VA with my short-term rentals because of all the automated systems. But most of the time I say that it's not available, or I can give them an extra 30 minutes. But I haven't gone to the point where I charge extra for anything.
Okay, good point. We'll give them a little bit of leeway, like 15, 20, 30 minutes. But after that, it's $35 that we do for up to, depending if they communicate ahead of time. Because if they communicate at the last minute, say, look, my cleaners are already there. Now I have to adjust them and pay them that way, that time that they're waiting. So that's one of the main reasons that we do charge and discourage it. But people do stay late. And if we don't have a booking the next time, if they let us know ahead of time, we'll allow it.
Oh, yeah. And there's no limit on what somebody will ask for. I have, like, we do same day turnovers. So somebody checks out at 11 o'clock and somebody's checking in at 4 o'clock. And our units are probably, most of the time, they're probably 95% occupied just all year round, because that algorithm changes the prices. And so we don't have a whole lot of fluidity to allow somebody to do a late checkout or an early check-in most of the time, unless it just happens to happen.
95%. That's very good.
I mean, overall, probably we're at like 87% occupancy on my in-town units. The short-term rental that I have, that's more in the vacation area, it's probably more like 50% because it's really seasonal. But yeah, we modify the price, and because I've got that cleaning company, we can go pretty low and still make income on those properties. That's one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to start the cleaning company, because it gives us more freedom to pricing freedom. I
love it. Fantastic. So with cleaning, do you so I was watching the YouTube University, and they said their cleaning fee, but they started changing. They would put like part of their cleaning fee in the management fee to kind of show it. Do you ever mess with your fees that way? Do you just have one set clean, or do you split it, kind of the cleaning fee, into different buckets to make it look like it's less?
Yeah, I actually I've always done this. I've played around with it a little bit, trying to put it in different places. And I believe Airbnb now has something that just says only show units that have all the fees up front, or something along those lines. So probably about 2 or 3 years ago, I just made flat rate fees for all my short-term rentals. And so the price that they see is the price. And there is no cleaning fee on top of that. And it's worked out really good for us. I'm sure there's a way that you could, like what you're saying, is separate it a little bit, have maybe a cleaning fee for a certain like if you only have a 1 night booking or 2 up to 3 night bookings, you have a cleaning fee added to that, something along those lines. But like I said, I don't mess around with it. I feel like we have a system that works fairly well. And so I've just been sticking with that.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. There's so many different little things in the Airbnb. It's hard to see, do I do this one? Do I not do this one? Like now they have linen fees that you can charge. It's like, isn't that already included in the price? So do I give them nicer linens if they're paying for this?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So your fifth one that you're getting, is that one that you picked up purchasing, doing a fix and flip on it? How's that one working out?
So this was the I just had 3 guys move out of this one. I think I touched on this just a little bit, but I just didn't like having to manage the long-term rental on that, because it was one of my newer units that I had built. And so after I renovated it or re-renovated it back up to a certain standard, I was just like, I'm gonna short-term rental this, and then I can have cleaners in here every couple days, and we can see how the maintenance is going. And I'm actually, I think I posted this morning a video of the damage and stuff that they left behind, and it wasn't massive, but it's just one of those things that you're like, you're only here for 12 months. If you were here for 5 years, like I'd expect this level of maintenance needed, but only being here for 12 months and it being a pretty new unit, like there's a hole in the sink. Like they dropped something heavy into the sink and it just put a hole into the sink. They had a dog that they weren't supposed to have, and it chewed on trim and sheetrock, and it was up in the windows, and there was wood seals on the windows. And so it scratches all over the place and holes in the wall. Like there was a hole like this big that they tried to patch. So just things like that. So I was like, I know I can just plug this into my short-term rental portfolio. I can make 20 to 30 to 40% more every single month. And it won't be any more time for me.
Yeah. And I feel like the property is going to actually last longer when you have people that come in and out and gets cleaned thoroughly between guests. So yeah, huge difference. What got you into building?
So my first introductory into real estate was, I've always had people around me. Like one of my buddies went into the Navy, and he talked about real estate. He was like, oh yeah, I bought a house down in San Diego, and I rented out to 7 guys, and he lived there at the time. And so there was a lot of people that I knew, or maybe not a lot, a handful of people that I knew that did real estate. And I was like, well, everything sounds good, so I'll give it a shot. So in Spokane in 2015, I think it was, I bought my first duplex, and it needed a full gut rehab. And it was $32,000. And so the guy that I was working with that was supposed to know everything, he didn't end up knowing as much as he made it sound like. So my first experience into real estate was pretty rocky. I went and got my general contractor license, and 30,000 rehab. The buy for 30,000 and the rehab for 30,000 turned into a buy for 30,000, a rehab for like $110,000. So it was like, there probably wasn't any value left in that. So I ended up renting it out, which still worked out because rates were in an okay place. So I rented it out to 2 different guys for a couple of years, and then I ended up selling for a profit right before COVID. And I turned that into another property. But right after that, I tried another property. It was only like 600 or 700 square foot single family home. And that was a buy for $30,000 or $40,000 in Spokane as well. And I put about 30 or 40 into it. And that one ended up selling. I rented it out for a while too, but that one ended up selling for about 200 right during COVID. Like COVID really bumped those prices up a little bit. But that was my introductory into construction. I obviously had some experience as a kid. Like I helped my neighbor build his house when I was like 12 to 14 years old. I grew up in like a farm area, so I was outdoor working with my hands all the time. My dad was always like laying concrete. He was a DIYer all the time. And so we put in a basketball court. We poured concrete for like 300-foot driveway. I was either tying rebar or building a barn or something along those lines when I was a kid. So I had some understanding of how it worked. But I bought a piece of land on seller finance, and I sold or refinanced those properties in Spokane, and I used that money to build my first duplex townhome ground up build. And it was a lot of just being the guy that sounds dumb, asking all the questions that nobody wants to ask because they're afraid that they shouldn't be asking that question as the contractor that's leading the job. So I would get a lot of looks like, aren't you the contractor that's building this house? I'm like, yeah, I am. I need to know all this information because I don't know it. So that was my first ground up build. But I came from a small town. So that was in Wenatchee. So there are a lot of really great subcontractors and contractors that were willing to help out. And my dad built our house growing up. And so he had a lot of tips and tricks for me as well. He wasn't a contractor either. He's just, like I said, the DIYer. If YouTube would have been around when I was a kid, he would have probably been doing a lot more stuff.
Yeah, people with YouTube these days, they don't realize what they have at their fingertips, that the privileges that they have, the convenience that they have, the knowledge is out there.
Absolutely. You can learn anything from YouTube.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not right. I'd probably cross-reference with like 3 or 4 videos from different sources.
Yeah, for sure. Great. How long did that build take you to do from start to finish, the duplex?
The first one, I think it took, let's see, it always takes longer than you think it's going to take. This was a straightforward 2 townhomes, nothing fancy about them, just investment type properties. And I want to say it was probably about 8 months from breaking ground to, I maybe 10 months total for the entire build. Like didn't have a whole team of people. We were using all subcontractors and then filling in the gaps. So it takes a little bit longer when you don't have a full construction crew.
Yeah, for sure. Congratulations on that. And taking action. I mean, that's the best way to learn. Even though YouTube University has all that information, doing it is the best way to learn it correctly. And you're going to learn a lot more because you're going to run into things that you're never ever thinking about.
Absolutely. Yeah. Getting involved. I probably spent 6 years in college just waiting for an opportunity to figure out what I wanted to do. And I think I learned more in business and real estate in the first year and a half than I ever learned in 6 years of formal education.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the thing with college. You're there for a piece of paper. You don't really learn a lot of the things.
Absolutely.
That you really need in the day-to-day. It's a bunch of check marks. Can you do this? Can you do that? But is it really going to help you in your day-to-day?
Yeah, you definitely need to take action. Action is where you're going to learn everything. And I think that's my biggest stumbling block with other people that I know. Most people want to know everything before they get started. And you really just have to get started. Because even if you ask all the questions, you'll never get started if you need to know everything beforehand.
Exactly. So when you built the ground up, were you already dead set on doing short-term rental for it, or was it just
no,
build it, go from there?
I don't think I had made any foundational decisions about how we were going to rent it out. It was just something that made sense. So we had just got back from, we were living in Spokane. We went on a mission trip. We started a build. We got back, we finished the build. And me and my wife decided to live in the Wenatchee area. So we lived in one of those units. And because we lived on site, it was just very simple to be able to short-term rental it because we could clean it ourselves as we were establishing ourselves back in Wenatchee area. And so I cleaned it, my wife cleaned it, and it was just one of those things that made sense because we were right there. So while we were living there, though, I refinanced that property, and then I did the second identical 2-unit duplex right next to that one. The property was large enough to have a second one. And so I built a second one, and I did a short-term rental out of one, and I did a long-term rental after the other. And actually that long-term tenant is still there to this day. She's a fantastic tenant. So I have lots of good things to say about a lot of long-term tenants. So I wouldn't discourage anybody from doing long-term rentals as well.
Yeah, it's all based on location and the property. Like the townhouse that I sold in Wrap, the short term isn't allowed, so we had to go through long term rentals. Dude, that's amazing. So that was your second house hack, I guess, because it was the 2 units, you lived in one, and then previously you lived in the basement and sold 2 bedrooms. I mean, rented out 2 bedrooms.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Amazing, dude. I love it. You're through building, short term rental, long term rentals. Fix and flip, you're killing it, rocking and rolling. I love it.
No, thanks. Yeah, sometimes it feels like it, sometimes it doesn't. So real estate is that thing that it's just a wave. And you've got your lows and you've got your highs, and everybody around you doesn't really understand what you're going through most of the time. But it's an up and down constantly.
And that's what keeps it exciting.
That definitely is exciting. I don't know if my wife would say that.
You gotta have somebody that keeps you kind of level-headed,
right? Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm the visionary. My wife is definitely the integrator, more so. So she's the one that brings me back to reality. Visionaries,
we can go out there.
Yeah.
So what is your next focus? Is it still going to be, you have that one conversion short-term rental from long-term to short-term? What's your next focus? Or have you set up in Mount Everest? That's a good question.
Yeah. I've got both going on. My next focus right this moment is co-living. I've got a partner doing like the CRMs and pulling bird dogs and underwriters together. And so we've been managing this team, trying to get some co-living properties purchased. It kind of seems like an obvious next step as far as from the short-term rental, because it seems a lot less to manage than short-term rental, but it's a little bit more systems and software than like a long-term. So we're trying to get into that right now, and that's where we're headed as far as growth stages.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of how we connected. Was I saw your co-living post in Discord for the Sub 2 and Owners Club community, and you're looking to invest in Houston for co-living?
Yeah, we're looking several different areas, but I think on my buy box it has Houston, Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Tampa, and then the surrounding core markets. We're definitely going to be using like the PadSplit software to get started. And so all their core markets have a lot of options for resources. So that's our plan.
Okay, great. So those that are watching this and don't understand what co-living is basically a rent by the room model. And PadSplit is a platform similar to Airbnb, but we're renting rooms long-term. The rooms are furnished. That's one way to do it. What Rayce means by core markets is this is where PadSplit does advertising for. So in Houston, they do advertise in most parts of Houston, but the surrounding areas like Baytown, Crosby, there's areas that PadSplit isn't advertising there yet. I think PadSplit has to have 50 units before they start advertising, marketing in that area for you to really get that benefit. So one thing we did for your reference, Rayce, is in Airbnb, in Baytown, we did a rent by the room, but we used Airbnb platform to rent it by the room. And in 2 months, we were able to rent 8 bedrooms out using Airbnb.
Yeah, definitely. That's a fantastic way to do it. I've actually done the rent by the room with the Airbnb platform before as well. I shut that down when COVID happened, though, because nobody wanted to rent with other people in the same room or in the same house during COVID. So those ended up being full-term whole home rentals, I guess.
Yeah, COVID changed the world. Okay, great. And then, so Houston in general, I can help you out with that section, being in Houston and also focusing on co-living. Have you set a number for your Mount Everest?
A number? Oh, so I wouldn't say co-living. Co-living is something that I'm building. It's not part of my Mount Everest. The Mount. Do you want to hear the Mount Everest?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So my Mount Everest is in construction. So I'd like to help 1,000 contractors become owners through sweat equity. And my plan is to do that is to create a platform so that landowners can post the land that they want to use as their equity portion onto the platform. And then it would locate the contractors that have profiles in their area within like a 10 or 15 mile radius and pull them together to do the work as their equity portion in that build. And then obviously using capital for materials, but everybody bringing the landowner, bringing the property, and the contractors bringing the work would significantly reduce the cost to entry into a multifamily type property. And the reason I wanted to do this was because every time I do a build, especially when I was younger, like 30 years old, doing a new build, and the contractors that are there, maybe my age or maybe 10 or 15 years older than me, wondering how I'm able to do this type of thing. And recurring hearing that one day I'd really like to do this as well. That was like a recurring thing. So being able to help some contractors become owners, even if it's a small slice on multiple projects, could be a big change for them. And then being able to, when rates are better, refinance, and then everybody gets paid out their percentage split, and then they still maintain an equity position in the project.
That's brilliant. That's a great way to go about it. Helping out contractors learn how to become owners and investors themselves. And Pace talks about it when he was a contractor, that it wasn't till Bethany told him that he was a Google search away from being replaced that he really opened up his eyes to become an owner.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think should be the route forward for as many people as possible, or as many people as want to take the jump.
I love that. And then pivoting back to the co-living in Houston, is it going to be, are you looking to do new builds there as well, or mainly pick up properties that are turnkey or fix and flip?
I'd definitely be open to new builds. I think that would be a great thing to do because we need such defined buy box. We have to turn away a lot of potential properties just because they just don't fit or they don't work. Being able to do a new build would be great. I'm not going to focus on new build right now until we have our feet wet in co-living and see what really works. What really works and what doesn't, and what amenities we need. Like if we want to have all ensuite bedrooms, I think we could do some really cost-effective builds, just with specific like dimensional builds, so we don't have a lot of waste and things like that. But to start, we're just going to be picking up creative finance deals.
Awesome. Where can they find your buy box at?
Let's see. I've got my buy box at racebarnes.com. You can also find me at Rayce Barnes on Instagram and Rayce Barnes on Facebook.
Okay, great. So if you're looking to make your first deal, you can bird dog, which is basically find a lead that fits Rayce's buy box and send them a lead. Go from there, and you'll try to include you in it if there's space to do it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Reach out to me on direct message me on Instagram, and we can also set something up that way.
Yeah. And then if you haven't met Tracy Coa yet, Rayce, her, Dustin, and Kaipo, they're doing new builds in Houston. Currently have one right now for co-living. I think it's a 7-7 that they're doing.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard the details on it, but I've sat in on some of Tracy's Zooms and things like that. So yeah, they're great.
Great. I'm looking for properties as well in Houston to do co-living, I currently have 2 sober living properties, one in Pasadena. Then I have a 4-plex with another partner, Luver, that we do rent by the unit. We house 1 veteran in there through HUD Bash with the help of Brian Madsen. So hopefully I'll look at your buybacks and your buy box and see that we can, which ones work together, and hopefully close some deals together, man.
Absolutely. That'd be fantastic. Love it.
Yeah, biggest thing right now is getting capital. So if you want to invest your money, reach out to us. We will show you the returns, and your money will be protected through real estate. Most of the stuff we do is loan to own. So if for some reason we can't pay you back your money, you're probably going to get a property.
That's great. Yeah, no, it's wonderful being able to bring on other people and make them owners as well.
Definitely, man. We can do it the way Pace says with the community. To help out other people, to help you scale, and with that way you just improve the people around you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Rayce, what word of advice do you have for somebody that wants to get into either new builds, short-term rental, or just being an entrepreneur?
Oh, yeah. I would say I would get involved in the community, because being in business or as an entrepreneur or doing real estate is a very lonely game if you don't get people around you to continue to motivate you, because your friends aren't going to understand what you're doing. So find the community. Some of the best communities that I've been a part of are Pace Morby's communities, the Gator, Top Tier TC, or Subject to. Those are all fantastic places to get your feet wet. There's a ton of free information out on the internet that can provide almost everything you need to learn a lot of these things. But definitely taking action is going to be the biggest thing. Just take small action every single day.
100%. Take action every day. Community will help you scale so much faster to meeting the who that's doing the what you want to get into. Thank you for that. A round of applause for Rayce. Drop a comment below. Give us a like. Subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything, and we can have more guests like Rayce that's giving us knowledge on short-term rentals, hot tubs, and building new townhouses, and even running by the room your own house.
That's right. Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, Edgar. This has been great.
Thank you so much, man. Good to talk to you. Good to meet you virtually and really having our first in-depth conversation.
Absolutely.
I'm Edgar the Connector signing out. See you on the next one. Catch this next podcast where you can start your dreams and start to own your time the way these other guests have.